Hey guys, and thank you for being part of my YouTube channel. In recent months, I had got a Segway scooter, and so in this video, I want to share with you the unboxing and review of this new scooter. Now, perhaps you're like me and you have your Camaro or your other car in winter storage, and while without snow on the ground, you might be interested in actually getting an electric scooter for your own commute. Well, if so, stay tuned because I also came across an unexpected surprise, so stay tuned for that as well. Alrighty, so let's start off by opening up this bad boy. Now, this is the SEGWAY NINEBOT MAX G30, a fully folding scooter. Now, first off the bat, I found that the scooter was actually very secure in the box with rigid styrofoam. Now, I also included the list of items that come in the box, so feel free to pause the video to view them all. And so here you can see a couple of the bag of goodies, which I'll go into more detail coming up next. So here's what we get when we remove the initial styrofoam from the box. We can see that parts of the scooter is covered with a protective bagging material. So next, I'll list the specs of this Segway scooter. And again, feel free to pause the video as I did try to put as much detail as I could fit for you all. Alright, so let's see what comes in our first goodie bag. Now first, we see some quick instructions on applying the added reflectors that come with the scooter. Now next up, a separate bag containing the 6 screws complete with blue Loctite. Next, we have a quick start manual. Now what I found really interesting, believe it or not, this instructions is literally 3 pages, but the rest is just duplicated in many different languages. Next, we have an insert thanking us for a purchase along with some customer service information. And now a manufacturer's warranty booklet, again, multi-languaged. So now we have the actual owner's manual. Again, there are only 23 pages in this booklet for English. The rest are 10 other languages. So don't be fooled when you see this thick manual, because it's not that. Alright, so they also included some added reflectors. I'm not exactly sure what they're for. Maybe they're just replacements or just to add more because it already comes with them. Now what I did find handy is that it actually came with its own Allen wrench, a 3mm. And this one actually has a handle and not those usual cheap L-shaped ones that you see included with other buildable items. Next, what I really found handy is it comes with a tire inflator extension tube. Now, there's very little room to get a normal valve head on the shredder tube to pump the tires up. So this is very handy and I very much appreciate having it included for us. Now, next up is something that a lot of people have praised Segway for doing. Now, unlike many other scooters that have these large, sometimes heavy power boxes, such as this, there's need to plug in your scooter for charging. They have it built into the machine, and so as a result, we only need this one convenient cord. It makes it very easy and convenient to take it with you to charge on the go. Alright, time to start building. Now, this scooter is extremely easy to build because you literally just have to attach the handlebar stem. By carefully and loosely screw in the 6 screws using the Allen wrench, which again comes in the box. And of course, be careful not to cross thread them. Once you have them loosely screwed in and all aligned, then you can carefully hand tighten. And guys, this is where I discovered a very unfortunate surprise. If you look carefully, you can see what looks like paint on the rear of the front fender, or so I thought. I tried to remove it and I realized it was a manufacturer defect. It almost looks like when they painted it, it missed a part, or something was a liquid or something that got spilled on it, kind of like a bleach effect. I don't know, but all I know is that due to my back injury, I would have a very difficult time to get this back to the store, as I had someone actually drive me with the box in their car. And my car wasn't drivable at the time, so I just decided to just continue and take care of it later. Anyways, let's continue on. Now, all we have left is remove the protective coverings. Okay, time to see how this scooter works. To turn it on, we hold down the power button for 3 seconds. And at that time, the rear light comes on, which, by the way, is very bright. Now, one thing I should mention is it actually arrived nearly fully charged. I was quite surprised. Now, to turn on the headlight, you press the button once. And then again, one more time to turn it off. There are 3 modes. Energy savings mode, aka Eco, which is suitable for beginners, but not really everyday usage, because if you plan to go up any type of hill, this ain't gonna do it. It is very slow and it has no torque behind it. In order to cycle through, you press the power button twice. Next, standard mode, aka D, which is suitable for everyday riding. It's much faster than Eco and has more power behind it. So you can go up some little bit of inclines, but not so much more than 10%. And lastly, sport mode, aka S, which is best suited for those who are confident with their driving ability, as you have full default power of the scooter and you can achieve inclines up to 20%. And again, to turn off, hold for 3 seconds. Now, one very important thing I need to make mention of this particular scooter, there is no rear foot brake. The brakes, both front and rear, are achieved using hand brake levers. Once the brake levers are squeezed, the rear light now flashes to indicate to those behind you that you're applying your brakes and slowing down. Now, the scooter also comes with a handy kickstand, and it is very safe at that. I've never had an issue with it prematurely coming down. It also actually comes with a built-in bell, but I gotta admit, I never use it. Up next, let's see how the scooter folds. So, there's a spring-loaded snap hook on the handlebar and a buckle on the rear fender. Now, it's actually very fast and easy to fold. Literally takes 3 steps. Step number 1, you slide over the safety hook on the lower stem. Step 2, open the quick release lever. And step 3, lower the stem to the rear fender and align the snap hook with the buckle. And it'll snap right on. Believe it or not, it actually feels very secure holding the full 41.5 pound machine. And to fold back up, undo the snap hook, raise the stem, close the quick release, and lastly, close the safety hook. Next up, charging. Again, charging is super easy with this one plain cord. You simply open the charge port cover, plug in the cord, and then to your wall. Now, full charge is around 6 hours when dead. Now, I should mention that there's rubber gaskets that help to resist the water from getting in the charge ports. So, just be sure to firmly press them down when you close the charge port cover. Now, the battery itself is fully protected by the grill on the bottom of the scooter. Alright, time to take this on the road. Now, for these tests, I selected a flat back alley in which I'll run at full throttle. Now, I'm going to stop the clock at the last manhole cover as a reference point. First, we're going to start with the Eco mode, which is the slowest mode. And as you can see, around 30 seconds to get to the end. So let's reset and change modes. Okay, now we're going to try it in the standard mode. And I'm sure you can see the speed difference, and we end up taking about 20 seconds. A full 10 seconds quicker than Eco. Again, back to the beginning. Let's end this test by changing to the fastest mode, Sport. Oh yeah, I am sure you can definitely see that difference. It only took 17 seconds. And lastly, we're going to go and try various modes to see how they react to a hill. Now, I'm not really sure the degree of the hill, but it's really not all that much. First up, Eco mode. Can't do it. As you can see, it is barely even moving. All right, let's go to Standard mode. Kind of do it. I can kind of do it, but you can hear the motor is really struggling. Now, lastly, let's change to the Sport mode. Now, that is the fastest, most powerful default mode. Oh yeah, goes in Sport. Oh yeah, you can see that is way more powerful. That's making it up the hill with no problem. It did not sound like that motor was struggling at all. Look at that. I mean, compared to both Eco and Standard mode. Okay, up next, I'm going to take you on a ride with me as we go full speed, which is 30 kilometers an hour, down a back alley. And now next, we'll go down a side street, see what it's like to go over the bumpy road and the speed bumps. So, what are my final thoughts on the SEGWAY NINEBOT G30 electric scooter? Now, what did I like about it? Now, it's a solid product. Much of the body panels are actually all metal, and everything feels very secure. Nothing that I see or feel looks or feels cheap. Basically, you get what you pay for. Now, the built-in bell is a nice touch, but I got to admit, I don't use it. It is very fast, and it gets very good range on the battery from my experience. It has regenerative braking, which means when you release the throttle, it recycles the energy of the wheel to help add extra charge to the battery, which in turn allows for some longer range on the battery. It can accept up to 220 pounds for weight capacity. And as far as the brakes go, I feel very secure when braking. There's a hand brake that applies drum brakes on the front, and then it controls an electric braking on the rear. Now, once do I ever feel like I'm going to fly over the handlebars just because I add the brakes way too fast or way too hard. No matter how fast I'm going, I feel very safe. The folding of it is very easy and it's very quick, and again, feels very secure. All the components of the folding mechanism is actually entirely metal, and so it feels very secure. I like that the rear LED light is very bright and that it blinks when you apply the brakes. It's a lot more noticeable when it blinks on peripheral vision than it is with a solid light. Now, the control panel is very easy to read and it gives me plenty of information. Now, it's neat because it actually tracks how far you've gone. It also tracks how far you've traveled in your session or the entire time that you've owned your Segway scooter. Now, on to the parts that I don't like. Now, the one thing that really disappointed me, and honestly, I never really put too much thought into it, is this machine, and it's not cheap. Here in Canada, it's $1,300 before tax. Believe it or not, it's not actually really all that great in the rain. The biggest drawback of mine is its IPX rating. Basically, that rating gives the indication for water resistance or how waterproof it is. Now, this machine, again, is like $1,300 before tax. I think it's like $1,500 after tax, is only rated at IPX5, which basically means it's water resistant. Basically, that means that you can potentially ride in a very light rain, but you have to avoid puddles. You definitely would not want to take this out when it's pouring rain out. And yes, you do see people doing that, but it would not be a good idea. As I've heard that the control panel on top of where the handlebars are, they have like a seal around it, but they have a tendency of shortening out because whatever reason, moisture still gets behind there. I think it's through the button, the on and off switch. So it's not all that great to keep the water out. Plus, if you don't put that charge port cover fully so the rubber gaskets are fully sealed, you also risk getting water in the charge port. Now, one other thing is that without the added suspension, other than perhaps reducing the tire pressure a bit, is that you feel every bump in the road. And as you've seen in my video, you can see how much it resonates back to the driver. So when you're riding it, you really got to make sure that you're fully aware of everything around you, because one pothole while you're going at speed, you can surely take a tumble. And another thing, for me, it's not all the best for locking up. Me personally, I don't take it anywhere where I can't take it in with me. I refuse to leave it outside. I mean, you can use a cable lock, but those are easy to cut through. You can use a U-lock, but they're heavy and they're also not a great place to try and figure out where you're going to lock it to. I just simply don't take any chances. Now, there is a built-in lock mode via the SEGWAY NINEBOT app, and it is extremely easy to use. On the app, you simply swipe down the unlock icon, which activates the e-lock system. Now, if a thief attempts to ride your scooter away with the e-lock activated, an alarm will go off on the scooter, the throttle deactivates, and the electric brakes are applied, as well as a notification is sent to the owner's app that there's a theft occurring. Now, the problem with that, of course, is that there's nothing to stop the thief from simply lifting your scooter and walking off with it. But it does limit the functionality of the scooter. But either way, what does it matter when you don't have a scooter anymore? It's gone. Now, the biggest issue with having that e-lock system is that in order for it to work, you have to have your scooter on all the time. So if you go to a restaurant or something and you're in there for an hour, well, you've left your scooter on for an hour and then you risk draining your battery. So, I mean, you could use it like with your lock as a secondary measure, but I definitely wouldn't use it as just your primary measure. And one thing you should be aware of is that when you have it in the lock mode using the app, the scooter itself is left on. It cannot be turned off simply by holding down the power button. In order to do that, you have to unlock it using the app which you used to originally lock it. However, even though the scooter can't be turned off, if you press the power button once, it will turn on the headlight, which means someone can turn on your headlight and drain your battery. So I'm not too sure why that feature is even there. Now, lastly, some final tips and suggestions. So be sure that you have a helmet and gloves, but I also suggest you get a clear visor or glasses of some sort. I really didn't think too much of it, but the wind that hits your face, especially in colder days, will just make your eyes water. I mean, every time I stop on a cold day, I have tears streaming down my face so much it looks like I'm bawling my eyes out. I guess I just get very emotional while riding it. I don't know. Now, I actually will be reviewing a helmet that I had bought that has replaceable visors. So stay tuned for that video review. And what a perfect reason to subscribe and, of course, hit the bell icon, and that way be notified when that video and more are posted. Now, another security measure would be to record your serial number of your scooter. And that way, if someone steals your scooter, you can ensure that it's actually yours if it was located. It's one thing to see one that looks like yours. There's another one to be able to prove that that specific one is yours. And you might not have thought about it, but it would be a good idea to check your local area for what the rules and regulations are for having an electric scooter. I was actually quite surprised how much you're actually not allowed to do on a scooter here in Vancouver, BC, Canada. Because you see people here riding on the sidewalk, going down the main streets. You're actually not allowed to do that. Now, these are all ticketable offenses. It's just whether or not officers are actually going to take advantage of that and give you a ticket. And there we go. Overall, I am very happy with the scooter, and I highly recommend it to anyone interested. And finally, stay tuned for more video reviews as I have a number of accessories for this scooter and even a drastic visual change done to the scooter. So you definitely don't want to miss on that. And as a bonus, I'll also be doing a video on how to hack your SEGWAY NINEBOT G30 scooter to make it even more faster. So you want to stay tuned for that. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. And of course, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, and hit the little bell icon to be notified in each new video when they're posted. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you later.